Now, before I get into this amazing review of this episode, that is the Shadow House, watch the first 2 minutes of episode 1 of Shadow House, then come back to this episode and see how it connects, how it goes full circle, baby. Genius writing. Oh man, I love it. You just love to see it, and I love it so much. Now, everyone knew that this show was sooner or later going to make a bad turn, where things were going to start getting really messed up. But everyone thought in a different way, where you see poor little Emilico, she'll have her hope shattered. This cheerful little girl will no longer be cheerful. She'll be full of despair. But instead, the exact opposite happened instead. Instead of tears of sadness, we have tears of joy. And when she looked at that screen, when she looked back at us, like that, it felt like everyone said, yo, it felt like fourth wall breaking right there, man. The way her eyes were just like all just shuddering, and she just looked at us like, I see you. Like, this was better than the book. They did it. They did it better than the book did. Like, holy snap, that was fantastic. Like, I think they could do a better job than that, man. So, Emiko always thinks on her feet. She knows how to improvise. She is the master of improvising. You know, she always has a plan, despite the way she acts. I'll say it again, she reminds me of Hajime from Gatchaman crowds. She's cheerful, everyone underestimates her, but she's incredibly smart because she has a lot of insight despite the way she acts. Don't underestimate her, is all I'm saying. Even Edward, who's looking at the paper, is like almost as if she knows that she's being watched. But maybe she doesn't know she's being watched. Have you noticed she's wondering about things that most dolls don't wonder about? She acts differently. But not only does she act differently, but so does Kate herself. Kate also has a big secret of something that they're unaware of. So, them finally finishing up the debut by making it to the finishing line was sort of once again out of left field. They got into the wagon, Kate finally using her soot powers while Emiko steers the boat. Everything's going well, and then it was just cool. We had a good first start of it. It felt like the hope was rising within us, seeing Emiko and Kate make it to the finish line, especially when Kate used her powers to get soot wings. That was pretty awesome. So awesome, I wanted to make it the the thumbnail, but I couldn't. I just couldn't. Because what happens towards the end, I couldn't, man. So, everyone makes a debut, except for Shirley and Rum. And people say, why didn't you make it? I thought Rum had the entire place mapped out in her head. She did, but that's not why she lost. That's why they couldn't make it to the finish line. They even explained it, so I didn't know why people didn't understand that. Shirley was weakening, She failed phase 2. Since she failed phase 2, she was withering away and stuff. But before I get into that, let's talk about the debut party. We get to see Rosemary's master, the Shadow, and that is Mary Rose, acting all elegant, kind of like the handsome woman. When you have that chick in anime that can make all the girls swoon and kind of like a guy in a way, they're called handsome women. In the manga community, anyways. There's a lot of manga about handsome women making the feminine boys swoon, those kind of things. It's a really good romance. You should pick it up. Well, anyways, we get to see her, and of course, Sarah being Sarah, just always dodging on Kate's rank. But that's not important right now. What important is what happens at the graduation, the ceremony. They drink this stuff. It's called coffee. They're used to drinking tea and stuff, sweets, as children, but adults drink coffee. As if these people are going to adulthood. Wait. Bless you. I gotta be careful, they come in threes, so if I sneeze 2 more times, heads up. Well, anyways. Well, where was I? Yes, the coffee thing. Is people can say the shadow house in a way is a form of the unknown, the fear of growing up. You not being no longer you losing your innocence. If you're aware of it, or if you're not aware of it. So, and how everyone cheered when Rum and Shirley were disposed of. The shadows, like for instance, surprisingly, Patrick was concerned about it. Louise, Louise doesn't even care, man. She's just all about herself and Blue. But Patrick was actually surprisingly concerned, like, whoa, this is terrible. Then Sean himself, well, John, I keep doing that. John himself was actually having his doubts in a way, like, no, we can't defy the Shadow House, though. Then, of course, there's Kate and things like saying, thinking Emiko must be sad. But no, at the ceremony, you see Emiko tears of joy. It's like when they saw Grandfather, everyone's just acting like it's a freaking cult, Like, hey, Grandpa, he waved at me. Oh my goodness, this is like a cult. Everyone worships the leader, and the leader just waves your hand, and everyone just passes out and say, oh my goodness, oh, he looked my way. That's that cult mentality, and that's what everyone's becoming. And you see it in their eyes. They're not who they used to be anymore. They're slowly becoming something else because they're drinking that coffee. Grandfather's coffee. Them good old pudding pops. But this isn't the Bill's Cosby coffee. This is the grandfather's Cosby coffee. Well, anyways. Now we get to see the scene of Edward. They're just dumping a lot of lore on how things are processed. The shadows start off as these little mimical creatures, and then they go and get some children, and they go mimic the shape of that child, and then they stay inside a house where they can imprint pretty much with that child. They stay inside a house until the debut. And then the second phase is they get their soot powers, and then unification starts. But however you fail phase 2, you wither away. You're supposed to turn back into one of those little mimical creatures, but instead, for some reason, for the first time ever, Shirley completely disappear. It was like she was finally, realizing who she is during the debut instead of before it, because that it all failed. It kind of felt like because Rum did open herself up is the reason why things happened. She never gave him the goodnight kiss or anything like that. So things were different. So I guess the reason why Shirley was doing the cleaning was that because out of careness or kindness, it was more like just mimicking what Rum was doing instead. Like, okay, fascinating. Now, with that being said, Edward is a great antagonist. Despite what you may feel about him, he's an antagonist. I kind of feel like I want him to win in a way, but not. And it's kind of that good mixed feeling of antagonist, which I do like. Apparently, he knows that those third level people are actually plotting to get rid of Grandfather. And it turns out some people thought Edward just wanted the place for himself. He just wanted to rule over everything. But it turns out that's not the case. He actually is looking out for Grandfather. He knows that those people around him are trying to get rid of him. So he wants to quickly uprise, expose those people on the third level, and get rid of them so he can protect Grandfather. So it turns out, despite him being the antagonist, he actually has some good paved intentions, actually. What makes him even better antagonist. He also knows something about Kate. There's a secret about Kate where she also knows that she's also trying to take down Grandfather as well. The question is, how come? How does she know that? I thought that, the mimickers take over the body and, well, they form the shape of the children and then they start forming a personality. But it turns out, for some reason, Kate probably has her memories of a past imitation that she once failed. Something must have happened in her past. Things that she wants to tell Emiko, but never got a chance to. Maybe she had a doll before, but failed, and now she's restarting again. But instead of having a doll imitate her, she's having a doll to be their own person. There's something going on that we're not fully aware of. All I'm saying, man, it's just now that you have these things, these questions, now you'll be able to see the Shadow House in an even brighter perspective. I hope this episode will be able to boost its ratings up in anime trending. It's still there in the top 10, but I would like to be in there in the top 5 or something, man. This was a fantastic episode, and many agree this is probably the best episode yet. So anyways, that's where I'm going to end it for today. Excellent episode. I can't wait for next week, man. It's just blowing my mind right now. So anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed the review. If you did, like, comment, subscribe, and of course, hit that bell icon. This has been Madcrown on Anime, signing out.